Okay. So there are different kinds of yogas, right? There is karma yoga, there is Gyana yoga, there is Ashtanga yoga, and there is Bhakti yoga. So I'm sure you must have heard, some more things like Raja yoga, Hatha yoga. So many different kinds of yogas you must have heard, right? But primarily they can be categorized into these four categories. And popularly, what we hear are all parts of Ashtanga yoga, right? So let's quickly see what are the different types of yogas, and we'll also touch upon something called as a yoga ladder. Oh, if you can just close the window, there's a lot of noise. Yeah. So let's start. So this is Jiva. This is a yoga ladder, and we are right at the bottom, the Jiva, and we have to connect to God, who's on the top of the ladder, right? So there are different stages, right? There is Karma Kand, there is Karma Yoga, there is Gyana Yoga, there is Ashtanga Yoga, and finally there is Bhakti Yoga, right? So we'll see what all of this means, right? So Karma Kand actually is rituals mentioned in the scriptures, right? There are so many different kinds of rituals mentioned in the Vedas and scriptures that you can do and attain certain benefits, right? You do this yagya, you get this result, right? People do different kinds of rituals to get different kinds of results, right? Which is almost like a business deal, right? I give you this, you give me that, right? So that's known as karma kand. And on the level of karma kand, although they are following certain sections of the scriptures, following certain rules as part of the rituals, right? But that's not yoga. You're not connecting to God, right? Because the idea there is, I want this, therefore I'll do whatever I have to do to get that. There's no concept of connecting to God there. So therefore it's known as karma kand, right? The next step, or the first rung of the yoga ladder, right? The first level of yoga ladder is karma yoga. That is to connect to God or to link to God via action, right? We'll get into details of karma yoga and what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma, like that. We'll get into that. But conceptually, karma yoga means linking to God via action. Jnana yoga means linking to God via knowledge, right? Ashtanga yoga is to link to God via meditation. And Bhakti yoga means to link to God via devotion. Now let's see all of these in a little bit more detail. So what is karma yoga? It's uniting with God through work. It's a very famous shloka of Bhagavad Gita, right? If you ask anyone on the street, sir, what is Bhagavad Gita? They'll quote half of this shloka. And they'll think that's the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Right? Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. They only know this karmanye vadikaraste. इतना ही पता है. और आधा श्लोक कोट करेंगे to give the essence of Bhagavad Gita. So it's not the essence of Bhagavad Gita. It's actually just the second chapter. Krishna would not have spoken all the other 16 chapters if only this was the conclusion, right? So and even then they don't know the full shloka correctly. And they say this is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Karm karo, phal ki chinta mat karo. You will hear this very popularly, right? This is the essence of Bhagavad Gita. It's not even beginning to address the concepts of Gita actually, right? And if they actually know the full shloka, they'll still be somewhere close to understanding Bhagavad Gita. So it says you have a right to perform your prescribed duties, right? But you're not entitled to the fruits of the action, right? Never consider yourself the cause of the result of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty, right? Which means that you have the right to perform your duty, but the results are not dependent on you, right? And it's not that you have to enjoy all the results yourself, because you're not entitled to enjoying the results of your action also, right? Fruits of your action, because it's not you only who's doing the work. There are so many other factors that are allowing you to carry out the particular action. And never consider yourself the cause of the result, like I just said. So there are five five, right? There are five elements that come into play for any work to happen, right? There is the desire of the living entity, right? There is the sanction of the Lord, right? There is the arrangement of the situation. What else is there? Two more. I'm forgetting. Sorry, my memory also cheats me a lot of time. So there was the desire of the living entity. Sanction of the Lord is the main thing, right? The external arrangements, the situation. One more thing. Okay, anyway, it'll come to me. I'll get back to that. So there are these five different factors because of which the work actually happens, right? So it's not just you and
Place of action.
Place of action, yes.
Performer, sorry. Performer, karta.
Karta, right? The soul itself, the
Senses.
the senses, the place where you perform the action,
Different kinds of endeavor.
and the kind of endeavor you do, and finally the sanction of the Lord, right? So these are the five different kinds of things put together, for any action to come to effect, right? So there is a concept of good karma and bad karma, right? If you do good, you get the good back. If you do bad, you get the bad back, right? So people say karma karna chahiye, phal ki chinta nahi karni chahiye. Karma karo, karma is great and all of that, right? We also need to understand what is karma. Karma literally means prescribed activities mentioned in the scriptures, right? Prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas are known as karma. Not that any action is karma, right? Karma doesn't mean any activity. Otherwise, the thief will be saying that मैं तो कर्म कर रहा हूँ, right? इतना मेहनत लगता है, late night shift, right? I climb the building, right? Entered through the window. So much hard work I do. मैं तो कर्म कर रहा हूँ मेरा, right? So that's not karma. That is vikarma. That is bad karma, right? Vikarma, which is activities prohibited in the scriptures. They are known as vikarma. There is karma, which is activities prescribed in the scriptures. That is vikarma, that is activities prohibited in the scriptures. And then there is a concept of akarma, right? Now, what is akarma? We'll come to that. Now, before just getting into this, I'll quickly explain one simple concept, right? And I missed out when we were talking that how our situation is fish out of water, right? How our situation is fish out of water. And because of this body, we actually go through a lot of suffering and misery, right? You have to take birth, right? And you may think, birth mein kya hai? Right? I'll come to that. You have to die, which is again a very, very terrible thing. And there are two other exciting things between birth and death: old age and disease, right? So how birth is bad, right? Birth is okay, right? So imagine yourself, you are packed in a sack, not for a day, not for 2 days, for 9 months, right? You're packed in a sack, very tight, sack, and it's filled with blood, pus, urine, stool, all of that, and you have to live in there, right? And there are insects inside that they're biting you. You cannot even move because it's so tight. You cannot even scratch. Something is biting in your leg. You cannot scratch. And on top of that, the sack is actually hung upside down, right? So you're hanging ulta, and you're in this condition for 9 months. It's a very, very terrible, very painful situation actually, right? The child faints so many times within the womb of the mother, right? It's not a very easy situation. And when it's coming out also, its head is completely pressed, right? And therefore, when babies come out, they're crying because obviously they've been in such a situation for so long, right? They'll cry. And once they're out, they're nicely bathed, they're dressed, and everyone is loving them, and they forget the whole situation, right? If we would remember, we would be conscious that, oh, I don't have to get there again, right? I don't want to be born again, right? Because birth is so terrible, right? Then death, of course, uh, death is described as, you know, 40,000 scorpions biting at the same time. Scriptures describe the pain at the time of death is 40,000 scorpions biting at the same time, right? Now one may wonder, if one scorpion also bites, I will die. What is, 40,000 scorpions, right? So it is said that more than the physical pain, the mental pain is so much. It's as good as 40,000 scorpions biting at the same time. Imagine you have to lose everything instantly at the time of death. So that whole mental anxiety is so much, right? It's equal to that much amount of pain, right? You will never hear कि अरे मेरा accident हो गया, मेरा हाथ टूट गया, I felt so much pain, I committed suicide, right? You won't hear something like that, right? Because that physical pain is not so much. But then someone in a broken relationship goes through such a mental pain that yes, they will commit suicide, right? So the mental pain is much more than the physical pain, right? And I don't have to explain disease and old age. I'm sure everyone knows how terrible that is, right? So good karma and bad karma, right? Sorry, good karma and bad karma, actually both are bad. I'll come to that slide also. But good karma and bad karma both are bad. Why? Any guesses?
You get entangled in this material world because of those karmas.
Excellent. So even if you do good, you have to come back to receive the good back. If you give 10 rupees to a beggar, you will have to receive that 10 rupees back, right? Every action equal and opposite reaction. So you could actually receive the karma in this life, or you could receive the karma in the next life. Right? I see some confused faces. Any doubts here? You want to say something?
So the natural question is what to do.
Yes, exactly. So we'll come to that in a bit, right? What to do, right? But principally, we need to understand that anything that gets me back to this material world, where I have to take birth again, I have to go through death, I have to go through, disease and old age. And apart from that, there are three more, right? There is Adi Bhautika Klesha, Adi Daivaka Klesha, and Adi Atmik Klesha, right? What is Adi Bhautika Klesha? Adi Bhautik means misery is caused due to other living entities. Mosquito biting, friends fighting, right? Terrorists killing you, right? This is Adi Bhautika Klesha. Misery is caused due to other living entities. Adi Daivika Klesha. Misery is caused due to natural calamities, right? Too cold, too hot, right? Famine or floods, right? All of this is Adi Daivika Klesha. Adhyatmika Klesha. Misery is caused due to one's own body and mind, right? So there are these 7 different types of sufferings we have, right? And these are the real problems of life, not anything else. These are the real problems of life, right? Not that I'm not having enough money to buy an iPhone. That's not really a problem. The real problems of life are these birth, death, old age, and disease, and these 3 other different kinds of sufferings, right? So and there could be action you commit in this life for which you have reaction in other life also. So not that everything can be given to you in one go in this life only. Otherwise you won't be able to take it. You'll die just this minute, right? Because every single act is creating a new body for you, right? Every single act is creating a new body for you. So what to do, right? मैं कर्म भी नहीं कर सकता हूँ, right? I cannot do vikarma also, of course, that is terrible, right? What do I do? So then there is something called as akarma, the third thing, right? Akarma. What is akarma? Akarma means that I perform my activities, but they don't generate material reactions, neither good nor bad. Krishna explains this in Bhagavad Gita, the concept of akarma, right? That when He's asking Arjuna to fight for me, right? Mam anusmarna yuddhacha, remembering me fight, right? So when one is actually performing what his task, but dedicating it completely to the Lord, right? Or actually working for the Lord, right? That is known as akarma, right? So Krishna says, Yat karoshi yadashnashi, yat juhoshi dadashi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam, right? Whatever you do, right? Any charity, any austerity, any penances, etc., whatever you do it as an offering to me, right? So when the factor of Krishna comes into picture, right? He's giving a guarantee that you surrender unto me and I will take care of all your sins, right? So when Krishna is involved, it's just like, just to help you explain, I understand this very easily. So a soldier on the battlefield, right? He's basically fighting for the country. Say for example, India-Pakistan war chal raha hai, and there is a soldier who shoots hundreds of other soldiers from the opposite party, right? He's awarded a medal. The government, Paramveer Chakra or something, so he's awarded a medal because he killed so many soldiers from the other aggressor country, right? But the same guy, if he goes in his village and shoots one person on his own account, right? All his awards will be taken away, he'll be put into jail, right? Why? Because on one hand, he was working on the behalf of the government and he was fighting a war, so he was actually awarded. On the other hand, he shoots one guy, he's actually put into jail, right? So similarly, akarma means when we work for God on behalf of God or offer the results to God, right, which is also karma yoga, right? When we connect our work to God, right, our work is purified, it becomes a karma. We don't get any material reaction for that. Another simple example is food, right? We have to cook, we have to eat for living. Now, food, if you just eat it like that, right? Bhagavad Gita describes that you're eating pap, right? You're actually verily eating sin. Even if you're eating vegetarian food, you're still eating sin, right? But if you offer the same food to Lord first, right, and then take it as prasad, then it's sanctified. And Krishna says, he describes what he can be of, what all things you can offer to him. He says, Patram pushpam phalam toyam, yo me bhaktya prayachati, tadaham tadaham bhakti uparatam, ashnami prayatatmanaha. Right? He's saying in the 9th chapter, I think 29th verse, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's describing how you can offer him patram pushpam phalam, right? Leaves, fruits, flower, toyam, water, right? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhakti, and with devotion, right? With devotion, you need to offer these things. That is the main key element, right? And he accepts, and basically the food becomes sanctified, prasadam, right? Spiritual food. And not just that, it is not generating any karma, it's actually helping you grow spiritually if you eat prasadam. Someone was trying to say something? I heard some voice. No? Okay, let's move ahead. So anywhere you have any doubts, you can stop me. We can quickly discuss also. So the next piece, if there is no question, I'll move ahead. The next piece is Gyana Yoga, uniting with God through knowledge, right? So this includes studying the scriptures, like we are also discussing, right? In one sense, we are performing Gyana Yoga, we are discussing the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, right? So basically, study of scriptures like Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras, right? But again, without any tinge of bhakti, without actually getting connected to a bona fide spiritual master, it becomes a very, very troublesome process, right? There are, you may try to read a lot of scriptures and you can get confused. Vedas, the word Veda literally means all knowledge, right? It is so vast that 100 lifetimes or less to go through all the Vedas, right? And therefore Vyasdev then gave Upanishads, Vedanta Sutras. He tried to distill it down further and further and further, and ultimately there was Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam given as the essence of all these Vedic knowledge, right? The Bhagavatam is actually described as Nigama Kalpato Galitam Phalam. It's actually the ripened fruit of the Vedic tree, right? So if we just want the essence, even Bhagavatam is so huge actually, it may take 5 years for someone to go through it, at a decent pace. But yeah, you can at least, with the limited time we have, look at the essence. So study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam like that. Then there is Ashtanga Yoga, uniting with God through meditation, right? So there are 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, Ashtanga. There is Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and Samadhi, right? These are the 8 limbs of Ashtanga Yoga, right? So Asan is just one of the limbs. It's just the third limb, right? And the purpose of Asan is to make the body fit for meditation. And meditation on what? Not meditation on some point, or not meditation on some light or some void, right? But meditate on God, right? In scriptures it is described, or Srimad Bhagavatam actually describes, Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yajnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate, right? The absolute truth is known in these 3 different features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, right? So what is Brahman feature? People consider God as some light, some effulgence, right? Some power, right? That is the Brahman feature of the Lord. The next feature is Paramatma. There are people who consider God to be present everywhere in every atom, right? That's Paramatma feature, in everyone's heart, right? That's Paramatma. And the third understanding is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that the Lord is a person, right? He's a personality, right? And the example is given of understanding the sun rays, the sun globe, and the personalities living inside the sun, right? Yes, there is people living in sun also, right? It may be very, very difficult to understand or digest, but that's true. So our bodies are primarily made of elements of water and earth. There are living entities living in the sun planet whose bodies are primarily made of the element of fire, right? So again, I mean, that's fine. So the understanding, or let me put it in a simpler example. Say, for example, there is a village and there's a train which is supposed to come to the village for the very first time. Nobody in the village has seen what is a train, right? They appoint 3 people to go check out what is a train and come back and tell them, right? So these 3 people, they go to the station, stand there, wait for the train, and after waiting for some time, there is a big light approaching, right? And one man runs, "Oh, I've seen a train, I've seen a train." It's a big light, right? Now the other 2 people are waiting. Now the train comes a little ahead, right? Now you can see the front portion, which is almost like a rectangular thing with a light on top, and it's sounding the horn. So the second person runs, "Oh, I've seen a train, I've seen a train." It's a rectangular shaped thing with a light on top, and it makes a certain sound, right? Now the third person waits for the train to completely arrive at the platform. He checks in all the compartments and then goes back and narrates what is a train, right? So all 3 of them, they were not wrong, they were right. They were explaining according to their experience and realization, right? All 3 of them, they were right. But the first 2 were partial understanding, whereas the third one included the understanding of the first 2 and was complete, correct? So that is how we can compare the Brahman realization at the first step, which is just understanding God is some light, some energy. Actually, it is described in the scriptures that that light is nothing but the effulgence from the body of the Lord, right? The second level is Paramatma, right? God is everywhere. So one of the expansions of the Lord is present everywhere, and that's how He's maintaining the entire creation. And the third feature, Bhagavan, when you understand God is personality, it includes the other 2 understandings as well, right? Does that sound okay? Any questions there? Even logically, if you think, right, everything is coming from God. God is complete, right? Om Purnamada Purnamidam, right? God is complete. and everything is coming from Him. Now you have a form, and God lacks a form according to you. How is He complete? Right? If He's lacking a form, He's not complete. And then some people say, "Oh, but the form is limiting." Right? That's the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Right? He's unlimited, and yet He has a form. Okay, let's move ahead. It's almost 6. Any questions still here? Any reflections?
Okay, I just want you to repeat those 5 factors: desire, karta, place of action, senses. I could not catch.
Yeah, I think Part2, if you can just paste it in the chat.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Everyone can actually have a look then.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I think Surbi, you had your hand raised.
Yeah, so I had this question related to Karma Yoga. So nothing against Bhagavad Gita. It's just that I have a little bit of knowledge. So I just wanted to know.
Sure.
You mentioned this example of the soldier.
Yes.
So that was his dharma, right? That to have a war against the Pakistan.
Okay.
In this example, it was Pakistan. So it was his dharma. It was his duty.
Correct.
So how can someone's dharma be a wrong thing? I
Wrong
just
thing.
wrong
No.
thing or something which is. I mean, you said that that particular thing of killing the soldiers was also wrong, and coming back to the village and killing someone was also wrong. Both of the things were wrong. So the
No.
second thing, of course, it was wrong.
I did not say both are wrong.
Okay,
I
okay.
said killing someone on your own account just because you had a fight and you shoot someone, that is wrong, right? On the say for example on the border, if someone is fighting to defend the country, that is not wrong.
That is not wrong. Okay, okay, fine. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
My mistake.
Going back has reaction and we have to come back. That's an inspiration.
Yeah. So I was just giving that example to help you understand the concept, right? That when we actually work for the Lord or dedicate our work to the Lord, there is no reaction, right? Like, I mean, in fact, he was awarded, right? Like that. Okay, should we move ahead? I think there are only a few minutes left. I
Yeah.
just skim through. Sorry. So okay. So basically, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining the Ashtanga yoga process, how one should go to the jungle, lake, usha grass, and so many rules and regulations, right? Not too high, not too low. His seat should be, and he should focus on the tip of the nose and not doze off, right? So all those things, all those rules and regulations of Ashtanga yoga, right? How one should hold his body, neck in the straight line, stare at the nose, etc. Devoid of fear, live in the jungle. And Arjuna, he's saying, "Oh Madhusudana, the system of yoga that you're just explaining to me, right, is impractical and unendurable, for the mind is restless and turbulent, right? For the mind is restless and turbulent, obstinate and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than to control the wind, right? We discussed this when we were discussing the mind section. So Krishna then, of course, says it's possible through detachment and abhyas and vairagya, through suitable practice and detachment. And we heard what it is yesterday. We'll also touch upon it today. So different yoga practices in different yugas, right? Kritaye dhyayato Vishnu, Tritaye yajato makhai, dwapare paricharyayam, kalau tad hari kirtana, right? Just like you won't go out with an umbrella in winter season, or you won't wear woolen clothes in summer season, or you won't wear cotton clothes, very light clothes, in freezing cold winter, right? Every season has its own dress, right? Similarly, all these different kinds of yugas or ages have a specific way of self-realization, right? So in Satyuga, Kriteya Dhyayato Vishnu, right? The process of self-realization was meditation. People could sit in meditations for thousands of years and achieve perfection. In Treta Yuga, where you must have heard Lord Ramchandra also performed so many Rajya Yagya and Ashwamedh Yagya, etc. Yagya was the main process, right? And these yagyas used to be so elaborate, would require so much wealth to actually perform one yagya, right? So that was a process. In Dwapar Yuga, which was the age before Kali Yuga, which was before 5,000 years ago, where Lord Krishna came. In Dwapar Yuga, the process of self-realization was, deity worship in the temple, right? Archana, right? In the deity worship in the temple. Very, very elaborate temples were constructed. Very, very opulent deity worship used to happen. And Kalau Tad Hari Kirtana, right? In Kali Yuga, in the age of Kali, which we are going through right now, the process of self-realization is Hari Kirtana, right? Which is chanting of the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, all through these different ages, you will notice that the lifespan has been reducing, right? Some people used to live thousands of years earlier, right? Then it dropped down to maybe 1 or 2 thousand, then some 100 years, and then now in the beginning of Kali Yuga, it was or even till some years back, we would still hear people living 100 years or 150 years or 120 years, and it's steadily reducing. Now the average is it used to be close to 60 a few decades ago. Now it is even lowered further, I guess, right? It's somewhere close to 58 or 55, I guess, for male and female. So that's the age is reducing. The lifespan has been reducing. The memory power has been reducing. Our elders would remember things so easily. They would do calculations in their head. We all need calculators, right? So even practically, you can see within your own lifetime also, how things are. So our memory has been reducing. Our intelligence has been reducing, and our inclination to seek spiritual knowledge or to understand God also has been reduced. So we are, like I said, we are the backbenchers or the people who after multiple attempts have also not passed. So the Lord very mercifully has given us the most simple and easy way, and it bears the same fruit or even higher fruit rather that someone in the age of Satyuga would get out of thousands of years of meditation, right? So God has given us tongue, He has given us time. We simply have to use it, and anyone can do it, right? Even a child can chant, right? He doesn't need a qualification. Even a beggar on the street can chant. He doesn't need money to chant, right? So anyone can simply use, these two gifts, the time and the tongue, and chant the holy names of God and go back and back to God, go back to the spiritual world. So it's the most easiest process given to us, and you find this conclusion in all major religions as well, right? Like you have chanting, which is called japa in Sanskrit or Hindi. There is rosary for the Christians. There is tasbih for the Muslims. So in every major religion understands the value of chanting the holy names of God, right? And when you call out to God, that sound vibration actually comes from the spiritual sky, right? It actually coming from the spiritual sky, and it immediately connects you to God, right? So like here, if I say water, 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 right? My thirst is not quenched. The words water and the object water are two different things, correct? When I say water, it's not that I am feeling satisfied. My thirst is not quenched. I have to actually go get the physical thing called water and then drink it and then be satisfied, right? But the names of God is such that the word, the name, and the naam and the nami, right? The name and the person, they are the same, right? Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar, right? So Lord has incarnated in Kali Yuga in the form of His holy name, right? So when you chant Hare Krishna, right, you're actually in contact with Krishna directly. The name and the person are not different, right? And that's true for all different names of God in all different religions as well, right? So no matter the language, the religion, right? Whatever you can call out the names of God, right? And be connected to God like that. So it's the most easiest process in the age of Kali Yuga, right? And the name Krishna also, I forgot to mention it yesterday, right? We discussed how the definition of Bhagavan, right, means owner of 6 opulences, right? All fame, all wealth, all knowledge, all beauty, all strength, all renunciation, right? So each and every opulence is very, very attractive. So someone who's having all these 6 opulences in full is all attractive, right? And the word Krishna comes from the root word Krista, right? Which is also translated in Greek as Christos, which also means attractive. So the meaning of the word Krishna is all attractive, right? And the meaning of the word Christos is also attractive, from which the derived word is Christ, right? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead ultimately is all attractive, and therefore Krishna is one of the most suitable nomenclatures as well for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhakti Yoga is uniting with God through devotional service, right? And this sound vibration is so powerful, right, that it actually clears the heart or consciousness of all these accumulated dust from time immemorial, and then you can actually see yourself, and self-realization and God realization happens together, right? Because when you see yourself, you understand Jivere Swarup Hoy Krishnere Nityadas, right? That I'm actually servant of God. Immediately you realize, right? So self-realization and God realization happens together, right? And Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamomata. Of all yogis, one who with faith always abides in me, right? Thinks of me within himself, renders transcendental loving service to me. He is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So Krishna, he is giving his conclusive opinion of who is the topmost yogi, right? So he's saying someone who renders loving devotional service to me is the topmost yogi. And when we say Bhakti Yoga, it doesn't mean some random sentiment, right? वो sentimental लोग हैं, उनका काम है. Doesn't mean random sentiment. It's actually very, very scientific, right? And here Sri Prabhupada translates Bhakti Yoga as transcendental loving service, right? So it's not just namesake, right? A wife may say, "Oh, darling, I love you" to the husband, right? She may say, "Oh, darling, I love you so much," right? The husband says, "Oh, please, okay, get me a glass of water." And the wife says, "Oh, you also have 2 legs and 2 hands. Why don't you get it yourself?" Right? That's not love. Love means there has to be service, right? So our only business is to know God and to love Him, right? That's the true religion, right? To know God and to love Him. So you can either follow the step-by-step process of the yoga ladder, going from Karma Yoga to Gyana Yoga to Ashtanga Yoga to Bhakti Yoga, or you can use the lift. Directly catch on to Bhakti Yoga. Chant the holy names of God, right? And you can be connected to whatever religion, that doesn't matter, right? Any bona fide religion, and you can chant the names of Allah, you can chant the names of Christ, you can chant the names of Krishna, right? And you will be connected to God, right? So you can use the lift instead of going through the staircase step by step, right? And the process of Bhakti Yoga is very easy to practice and suitable for modern times, right? You can just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is known as the Maha Mantra, right? There are 60 crore mantras in the Vedas, right? But this is known as the Maha Mantra. Why? Because if you chant this is mentioned in the Kali Santarpana Upanishad, right? So this, if you chant, it's equivalent to chanting those 60 crore mantras put together, right? Therefore, it's called as a Maha Mantra. And this is the transcendental sound vibration coming directly from the spiritual world, right? When you chant this, what happens is, just like when you have, say for example, everyone knows what is a tuning fork, right? Everyone knows what is a tuning fork, right? You bang one, it vibrates and gives you a nice sound, right? And if you have another tuning fork next to it, right? If I there are two, if this is a tuning fork and I hit one and it starts vibrating, even if you don't hit the other one, it resonates already, right? Because you've hit this one, right? So if you hit this one, it's vibrating at a certain frequency, then even this starts vibrating. So when we vibrate our tongue, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, it actually vibrates at a frequency which doesn't, you know, it actually touches directly the soul, right, and reminds us of who we are really, right? So we can tune into that frequency by chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, right? And this is directly the names of God, so we are connected directly to Krishna. So it's all like there are scriptural references. I won't get into that. I can share this with you all. It's already 6:15. So since today being the last day, we also wanted to quickly take a feedback, and plus we can actually have a practical session of this chanting. So we will do a short kirtan for 5 to 7 minutes, post which we can start. And there's a feedback form which Partha will be sharing, an online form you guys can fill in while in the class itself, or if someone is getting late they can fill it later as well. And if there are any questions or comments or reflections, or you want to share your experience, you can do that. And plus there are very very important announcements, so immediately following the kirtan, or you want to make the announcements now?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, let's make the announcements now. These are very very critical ones, so we'll have some announcements now, post which we will do a short kirtan. And it's this kirtan, I'll just say one thing: this kirtan doesn't have any language. It's like a universal sound, just like thunder. It's not Sanskrit, it's not Hindi, it's not Marathi, it's not anything else. It's universal language, right? So these names of God, they are universal sound vibrations. Anyone can take it without any reservations, and they'll get the benefit. So I'll just hand it over to Partha Prabhu so that he can make these important announcements, and then we can
Hare Krishna. Okay. The echo again. Okay. So thank you all so much for so enthusiastically joining over the last 3 days and patiently hearing. It's just so difficult to be sitting in front of the screen for 2 hours at a stretch. I completely understand that, as I'm from the teaching field and I've been taking classes for students, and it's just so difficult. So, but I could see that there are people who are here sitting patiently, and not just patiently but attentively. Some of you are even making notes. I could see that, and which is so wonderful to see. So really very very thankful and grateful to all of you all to be joining here. I'm sure whatever you've heard in the past 3 days is something that you probably have never heard before at school or at home or anywhere for that matter. Do you all agree? Can you all have your hands raised in case you all agree? Maybe virtually there with pressing the button. Yeah, I can see hands going up. So this is so surprising, that the fact that we are in India, and we are like literally sitting on top of this beautiful and wonderful knowledge that's there in the scriptures, and in fact a famous text of the Bhagavad Gita. So and yet we probably in our entire life we haven't had the opportunity to explore it, or maybe even if we did explore it, there was not really someone to help us understand and apply it in our lives. So these 3 days and whatever we've discussed here, it's like a crash course, and I'm sure there would be so many more questions that you all would have had, and there's so much more to understand, and practically understand how to apply and live a life centered around the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So we had a very wonderful news for all of you, and that was that starting next week we'll be trying to have a weekly session once every week, which will be not very long. It will be like an hour and a half at max, and we will be trying to do this every week, once every week. Mostly, yeah, it's like a systematic study of the Bhagavad Gita to understand better how to apply the various teachings that are there, and also to go in depth, because this is like just a gist of what you've gotten here in the 3 days. So it's mostly it'll be on the weekends, and we mostly will have it on a Saturday. Of course, we'll be sharing the form with you, and we'll take your preference as to what time would suit you the best. Uh, and there are no charges for it at all. It's going to be free. So the only reason that we are having these session is just to try and spread the knowledge far and wide. So uh, when you fill the form, please uh, try and tell us your preference, because we have like 3 different slots on Saturday, and depending on whether you're working, studying, or what time you prefer in the day, you can accordingly mark. And if you are free throughout the day, you can just mark all 3. So we can just take a majority of when most of you all are free and available, and what site what time suits you all the best. And then we accordingly decide on a particular time in the day, either on a Saturday or a Sunday. And yeah, so that is for the announcement. So if you've enjoyed listening, and you've learned anything at all in the past 3 days, and you think that you would want to dive deeper and understand more in depth, so what we've already had a batch we've been having on Sundays, every Sunday morning, and it's been happening for a year. So if at all you feel that Saturday is not possible for you at all, you could join that batch on Sunday morning. But we've already completed like 6 chapters there, so you would miss that. So I would advise, if you can join on a Saturday, it'll be great. And so we'll be beginning with chapter 1. As you know now that there are 18 chapters, we'll be taking one verse at a time. So that will help understand and apply a lot of things in our life, and to gain a lot more uh, than what you've gathered in these 3 days.
Yeah, so just to add to that, these 3 days, I'm sure it must be an information overload. So it's meant to be an overview, and of course, to cover in 3 days is a big challenge. But we've tried to cover, the core concepts of Bhagavad Gita in as simple and practical way as possible. And we are inviting you to actually get into, learning it systematically, deep dive into it, chapter by chapter. So that's what we are planning to do on Saturdays or Sundays. And the reason why we are doing it, and like I said, it's free, it's voluntary completely. The reason why we're doing it, it's almost like if you find a cure for cancer, right? Won't you announce it to the world, right? You want to give it to everyone. So this is basically a cure for birth, death, old age, disease, right? And the 3 other miseries. So it's actually creating a revolution in the lives of other people, whereby they can actually equip themselves with this knowledge and apply and be happy. So that's the only aim for us to be doing all these sessions, and we invite you to join us.
And there's so much more that we could share with you all. I mean, Bhakti Yoga is like a process which is not at all dry. Like some of the other processes I've heard, I've never really gotten into. But it can be really very dry, very philosophical. Bhakti Yoga is like, you're using whatever you know as a person, whatever skills and talents you have, but just using it in the service of the Lord. So you don't have to give up on anything. It's like you're adding, Krishna to your life. And no matter what you're good at, you could be good in singing, you could be good in music, you could be good in art, you could be good in writing, you could be a philosopher, a thinker, uh, anything for that matter. You were just using your skills and talents in the service of the Lord in different ways. So
Let's do a practical session.
okay. So we'll do some practicals now, which is some music.
So we'll be doing a short kirtan, and sorry. So yeah, so I mean, there are more slides. Basically, it's freedom from reactions, freedom from sin, right? Relief from unwanted habits. So, like I described, how I was not able to leave non-sharing food, but immediately I could, and because I was chanting. So it actually empowers you a lot, right? So yeah, there are so many benefits of chanting. Even materially, there are so many benefits of chanting Hare Krishna. So here's the mantra on the screen. Uh, we will sing in a call and response fashion. And in our past experience, of course, if there is a lag, it just sounds like too many voices, one after the other. So let's do this. We will all stay on mute. Uh, not us, but yeah, everyone will stay on mute, but sing wherever you are, right? So that you can participate and it doesn't create like a noise essentially, because people might just say things not so in sync essentially. Yeah. So I'll chant first. It's a call and response. I will chant first,
So
and then you
you're
guys repeat.
echoing. Your
Okay?
voice is echoing.
Okay, I think it's already echoing this thing.
Yeah.
So just mute. I will go back on.
If you can ask them if it's better now. Is it better
It's
now?
good. It's good now. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready?
It's really too loud.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, before leaving, there's a quick feedback form. I would appreciate really if you can fill in in the next 5 minutes. Otherwise, it just gets in 2 minutes. Actually, it's a short one, so we can still be in time, and you can finish it while you're here itself. So it'll help us. Otherwise, sometimes it gets missed. So it'd be nice if you can just fill it. Share the link. Okay, the link is shared. You can just go on. And if anyone has any questions, comments, any realizations of being connected in the 3 days here, if you want to just speak it out, the floor is open for you.
If you come on camera.
And please, we can also click a quick picture if everyone can come on camera. That's a good suggestion. Yeah. I'll just stop sharing my screen. So, yeah.
So wait, we have to fill the form first. So I'm in rush. Should I fill the form first or should I get the camera click?
Turn on the
So just 2
camera.
minutes to just finish the form first.
Okay. Take 2 minutes to fill the form. No problem.
Yeah. Come on. Done.
Great. So, others who are not in a hurry, who are still filling the form, please turn on your cameras if you can, so that we can quickly take a picture. And then those who are in a hurry and have filled the form can leave.
Sir, as I already started with the Sunday class, but I just took 2 classes. I think, this announcement is really giving me relief because I was worried somehow, how will I finish my previous, chapters? So I am definitely in for the Saturday. I have though mentioned my time slot, but even if that time slot is not available or we don't work out on it, I think I will have to do whatever time slot you give it to us. Thank you so much.
Acha. I think I will figure out in the form itself.
We can tell them what it is.
Okay, so just one small thing. I think some people can still come on the camera, and I'll just make this one small point clear. So we also mentioned a retreat in the form if you want to join a Talashri retreat. So that's basically a farm with a goshala, etc. we have there, and we can actually go for a retreat. Whosoever is in India and in and around Mumbai, or close by places. So this place is just in the outskirts of Mumbai, and anyone who wants to join, we can have like a practical yoga sessions as well, plus have more such discussions on Bhagavad Gita, see how practically people are living on the principles of Bhagavad Gita in the farm community as well. So it'll be a very, very interesting experience if anyone is around and wants to join. So that's something there mentioned in the form if you would like to join such a retreat in future, right? Okay, Imran, can you also turn on your camera? Chetna, Priyanka, Mamta, Ramlingam, Mahathi, please come on camera. Very quickly, we can just take a snap. Jivika, Mahathi, and Mamta, three of you all are remaining, I guess. Aman also. Okay, one picture done. Yes, now Mahathi is there. Mamta and Jivika, I cannot see you. Yeah, Jivika, now we can see you. Mamta.
Black screen. Jivika has black screen.
Okay. So I think I can then Photoshop everyone together. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It
sir.
was really, really nice having you also enthusiastically participate. Then would not have been completed without an audience. So thank you for encouraging us so much. Thank you.
It was a wonderful session. Are you active on social media? Can we connect?
Yes, of course. So I'm actually not very active on social media. I'm on WhatsApp and rarely use Facebook. But we can connect. I can pass on my email address. I'll just put it in chat. So anyone who wants to connect can.
Thank you.
So can we message you even if it is not related to the session? Somehow we are stuck somewhere while reading Gita or some kind of confusion
Oh,
or
sure, we
some
can.
more, yeah. Thank you so much.
I'll put my email address and phone number.
Thank you so much, sir. I would just like to share my experience. I mean, uh, it was so overwhelming altogether. And throughout, I just realized one thing, that it all starts with the reading of Bhagavad Gita. If you're not reading it, actually, then probably you won't be able to build that connect. So thankfully, I received a copy yesterday.
Great.
And good to know that we are starting, because I was wondering, if I start reading it, I don't know where to look up to or whom to rely on for the uh, actual guidance or the correct guidance. So I would start reading it though. But altogether, how to summarize it, I felt that we are such a tiny speck
Yes.
in the entire universe, that you feel that everything around you is not, it doesn't really matter. And if you take yourself away from a particular problem, from the bird's eye view, as they say, then you will find that everything is just so little, so tiny, and you're just part of that tiny speck of that
That is such a
uh,
beautiful
jigsaw
realization.
puzzle.
That is so beautiful realization that you just shared. It's really, really wonderful that I feel I'm successful somewhere in my
No,
presentation
it was
to have this realization.
it was I was overwhelmed actually, and I couldn't actually find or figure out choose the correct words to express it. But then I tried somehow. The kirtan was amazing. It was so peaceful just to hear. I was just closing my eyes and trying to bask in the aura. It was really nice. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And I would be looking forward to join the classes for the chapters as well, for the reading of the chapters. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your appreciation. Really, really kind of you to share this.
Thank
Sir,
you.
I wanted to share something if we have time. Otherwise, it is
So
perfectly fine.
officially, if someone is getting late, they can leave. If people want to stay around, I'm here. Yes.
Sir, I've started, linking somehow. So few things are happening with me, and I don't know, it's my mind or I am linking the dots. So a few days back, after I started joining, I joined the class, the Sunday class. So yes, on and off in my mind, obviously I am chanting the name. I won't say that I've started practicing it fully, but I know that early morning I open my eye, I start with that. So one day I was coming back from a market, and I in an auto I saw a devotee of Hare Krishna, because he was wearing that, and he had that mala, and I had suddenly I just thought that it is a signal for me, and am I on the right direction? Is that the signal? And then I was supposed to come to this friend's place, and I hired a driver, and his name was Krishan. So then that in my mind, I was just connecting the dots that, okay, fine, finally, maybe this is a signal that, okay, fine, you are in the right direction. So
Just
yeah,
kidding.
I wanted, yeah. So I started connecting dots, and finally, after so many years, I'm feeling so good that I'm able to do it and understand it. More than just reading, I'm able to understand and relate to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It's really lovely realization. All right. Okay, so I think if anyone else has anything else to say, we can hear that. Otherwise, we'll end the session here. Any doubts? I'm sorry we could not leave a lot of time for questions, etc. So you can still access the link, and we'll reach out to you or email you with those answers. Okay, or you can join the class and you can have your answers as well. So thank you so much. Sorry, Ramlingam, you're saying something? Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for
Thank,
excellent session.
thank you so much. So thank you everyone for joining. Hope to see you around on Saturdays if it's possible for you all. And just this session was just to encourage you to read the Bhagavad Gita very very seriously and go through it very systematically. So I hope you are encouraged enough to do that. That'll be the real success of our presentation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Namaste. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.